Greetings dear friends, Fanatical Dragon finally back again. It's been a little while since I've had a chance to make a video, but something pretty damn special inside this box. I wanted to do this a little bit differently than normal, so it's a little bit of an unboxing, but also just a chance to speak about the madness that's been going on over at Shout. So inside here are 3 titles from their Hong Kong Cinema Classics range. This was an exceptionally generous gift from my mate Kevin. He knew that I'm having a bit of a hard time financially at the moment and took pity on me and gifted me these 3. But there's been so much going on at Shout and I haven't really had a chance to speak about it, so I thought we'd take a little look at the releases at the same time and talk about what the fuck is going on over at Shout, because it's a madhouse there at the moment. So inside here we have City on Fire, we have Peking Opera Blues, these 2 are 4Ks, and we have the Chinese Ghost Story box set just in regular Blu-ray. So City on Fire we'll take a look at first. This one I did actually already open and replace the cover with my own mock-up of Tony Stella's artwork. That's one of the first points of contention with Shout. They've made these incredible Tony Stella posters for the cinema screenings of these films in the States, but then opted not to use any of them for their own releases. Arrow, incidentally, have already announced their version that's coming out with brand new Tony Stella art on there, and I'm actually been lucky enough to be sent the screener for the Arrow version. I've had a quick look at these and I can already report that the subtitles on the Arrow version are infinitely better. I think there's a part AI generated subtitles on City on Fire because they're a bit messy, but picture quality is the same. But overall, a really, really nice release. The new restoration does look really, really good, and there's no difference between the Arrow version and the Shout version. Arrow are doing individual versions for 4K and for Blu-ray, whereas you get both on Shout. But just, yeah, a real mystery to me why they didn't kind of go ahead and use Tony Stella's art after they'd gone to all the trouble of commissioning it. On disc extras wise, there was a brand new commentary by Frank Zheng and FJ DeSanto, an interview with Kim Newman, and an interview with film historian Rick Myers. There's also Inside City on Fire with Grady Hendrix, Burn It Down, an interview with the screenwriter Tommy Shannon. Yeah, they say optional English subtitles newly translated for this release, but they're not great, and the Arrow ones are much, much better. So that one I've already unboxed. Peking Opera Blues I haven't had a chance to dive into, so we'll do that now. Well, again, a bit of a disappointment because there was a wonderful piece of Tony Stella art created for the cinema release. I'm hoping that when Arrow get around to doing Peking Opera Blues, they'll reach out to Tony again. But we'll take a look inside this just now, though there's not too much inside here to get excited about. There's no booklet or anything with any of these releases. I think we probably will get booklets with the Arrow releases. No word yet on if the extras are going to be exactly the same. I think Shout have been quite strict with kind of mandating what other labels can do, so I think most of the on-disc extras are probably going to be exactly the same, but the other individual labels will have a chance to do sort of more scope with any included booklets. But on this one we are getting a new commentary with James Mudge, Opus for Peking, an interview with actor Mark Cheng, an operatic achievement, interview with cinematographer Ray Wong, Hong Kong Confidential, Inside Peking Opera Blues with author Grady Hendrix, Peking Provocations, an interview with the author and critic David West on the cinema of Choi Hark, Professor Lars Lehman on the setting and time of a Choi Hark masterpiece, and the James Mudge commentary on both the Blu-ray and the 4K. And then getting on to the Chinese Ghost Story set. And now this one they did commission new artwork for, but they haven't just used the original posters. Again, there was wonderful Tony Stella artwork for all 3. And this time around, I think they reached out to Chris Malbon, who's done quite a lot of work that I really like for Eureka, but a little bit confused why they didn't go with Tony Stella's work. Again, it's going to be interesting to see what Arrow do. I know that Arrow are definitely going to do a 4K release of the first movie. I'm not too sure if that's going to extend to the other 2 parts of the trilogy, but I think they definitely have certainly a Chinese Ghost Story Part 1 planned as a 4K release. I don't think they're going to do it as a box set. But getting inside here, we'll get our plastic out the way, and our 3 individual boxes are just the original Hong Kong posters for Part 3, for Part 2 and Part 1. And these are just individual Blu-rays. There's no 4K release of this coming from Shout, which kind of brings me on to what the fuck is happening over at Shout, because things have gone a little bit mental there over the last couple of weeks. They've shut down their website, so you can no longer buy direct from Shout. They've moved all of their stock over to Grove, who do not ship outside of the USA. Grove are basically kind of carrying on selling quite a lot of discounted stock. I was able to pick up the David Chang and T Lung box set for like $70, which was a massive saving. It was kind of one of the last things I was able to kind of get an order in before Shout pulled down their own website, before they switched over to Grove. This led to an awful lot of speculation online, with some people saying that Shout were either closing down in the most extreme, which they're definitely not, and that they were getting out of physical media, which I could kind of understand people thinking that based on some of the comments that have kind of come out since their change, which we'll get to in a second. I don't think they're getting out of physical media, but I do think they're kind of realigning their focus a little bit more to streaming. The mental thing about these Hong Kong Cinema Classics range is they're all already up on Tubi, so you can kind of stream a Chinese ghost story, Set on Fire, even the titles that are just coming out or haven't yet come out, like Hard Boiled and The Killer. All that stuff is up on Tubi, not behind a paywall. You can just watch them so long as you tolerate occasional ads. The quality's not great. I think they're capped to 720 on Tubi. But you can see that there are definitely the new restorations. They all kind of start with the Hong Kong Cinema Classics logo at the front side. For anybody unaware, there was recently kind of a merger between FilmRise and Shout. They're now calling themselves Radial Entertainment moving forward, and they've let go a huge amount of people, including Adam Protexter, who was one of the guys who actually set up the Hong Kong Cinema Classics line. So I think it's very strange to me that the guy who basically was instrumental in making the deal happen, and who was doing the kind of the first wave of special features, interviewed John Woo and so forth, he's been let go. He kind of put a little comment out on his Instagram page and on X about the fact that he was leaving the company. Just seems very odd. I think it's strange that we waited so long for these movies to come out, and really Shout have kind of dropped the ball at every opportunity, both in terms of their presentation of the movies. They've been skimpy on extras. They're apparently not paying very good rates. They're not getting a huge amount of extras or new extras for a lot of the titles moving forward. But then they're being quite strict on what other labels can do. So yeah, just a little bit of a disappointing mess, really. It would have been much happier had this landed in the hands of Arrow overall, but at least we're getting Arrow versions here in the UK, and I think moving forward it's definitely going to be the Arrow versions that I get for all the rest of the titles that I'm interested in. I suspect I'll probably pick up City on Fire when it comes through. I'm not too sure if I'll also pick up their Peking Opera Blues and Chinese Ghost Story when the time comes. We'll just have to see what funds allow. But I've rambled on long enough. Let me know in the comments down below what you all think of this. It's been a little bit of a crazy kind of couple of weeks watching these developments unfold. And I think I've got the T Lung David Chang box set, and I've got the next Shaw Brothers box set coming at some point when it gets released. And beyond that, I don't think I'll be picking up any more Shout releases. Wonder how the rest of you feel. But that's it. We'll keep it short and relatively sweet today. Thank you all very much for watching. If you've made it to the end, I salute you. I've been the Fanatical Dragon, and I will see you on the next vid, hopefully a hell of a lot sooner than the time has been since my last vid. But take care, have a great rest of your weekend. I'll speak to you soon.